Who the hell is Katy Talento? She's a hero, and we need more like her.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I recently spoke out about a change of heart and change of mind, really, on sort of the public health orthodoxy. And I guess I've become a heretic, excommunicated from the public health cult.
Welcome back to Shadow Wreckardz Independent Media. I'm Scott, your host, and it's been a minute, so let's get right down to business. I'm covering this story because I believe what Katy Talento embodies is extremely important. I'm going to tell you why, but first, you need to know a little bit about who she is and what she's done. She's not exactly a household name, although I plan to do everything I can to change that. She first came to my attention while watching this Full Measure interview with President Donald Trump.
There's a woman named Katy Talento, if I'm saying her name correctly, who recently stated that in 2017 she worked for you, and her job was to keep Bobby Kennedy as far from the West Wing as possible after you had agreed to a vaccine safety commission. Did you know about that?
Now, I don't know much about Cheryl Atkinson, but I got to thank her for the way she framed this question. For me, it created a lot of intrigue, which ultimately led to the creation of this video. Hopefully, it piqued others' curiosity as well. Now, I'm going to cover Trump's answer at the end, so stay tuned. It's very telling, and I think there's some good news and some bad news. But first, who is Katy Talento? In a nutshell, she's a Harvard-educated infectious disease epidemiologist who worked for several senators before joining Trump's first administration as a public health policy advisor. Here's some of that backstory in her own words.
You know, I was an infectious disease epidemiologist. That's my training, and I grew up in that world. And, you know, we never were really taught anything but the orthodoxy. And, you know, that's not just at Harvard, that's at every public health school and every medical school, I'm sure.
When my skepticism comes up in casual conversation with, say, friends or family, I always get the same question. Why isn't my doctor telling me this? Now, I'm a statin skeptic too, so I've had a similar conversation many times. Well, she's laying it out for you. It's baked into the education system, an education system that has been shaped by the pharmaceutical industry. I would imagine the people who go to medical school are already prone to believe. Otherwise, why would they subject themselves to such a difficult curriculum? It must be really hard to overcome that indoctrination. So props to Katy. Now let's hear what happened to her regarding Bobby Kennedy.
Especially when I got to the White House, I was asked to address the fact that Mr. Kennedy, not quite Secretary Kennedy yet, but Mr. Kennedy had gotten the president before he was elected in 2016 to agree to a vaccine safety commission. And it was my job to make that problem go away. And I believed in making that problem go away because I thought that if we had vaccine skeptical messaging coming out of the White House, that kids would die.
It's awesome that she's being so honest in telling this story. It takes a lot of humility, and it has to give all of us who've been on the skeptical side a little bit of hope. I know people who thought like that. Individuals who believed I was putting others in danger simply by discussing the topic. Many of them unfriended me on Facebook, and it was quite shocking at first. I mean, I knew some of these people for years. To see that she's come from that mindset to where she is now is incredible. It's difficult enough to overcome the indoctrination when you're part of the general public, but imagine if you've spent several $100,000 on it. That's why I don't think we can look to doctors as a group to lead any public health revolution. Now, you may be thinking, I myself didn't go to medical school. How the heck did I get indoctrinated? Well, for the general public, the process is a little less direct. Let's take a look at a not-so-subtle example.
What are you doing home from school? They sent me home. Measles.
In the episode, first broadcast in 1969, all 6 of the Brady kids come down with the measles, and it's no big deal.
A slight temperature, a lot of dots, and a great big smile.
A great big smile?
No school for a few days.
Boy, this is the life, isn't it?
Yeah. If you have to get sick, you sure can't beat the measles.
Doesn't seem too serious, does it? Let's see how the episode ends, and I want you to pay attention to how lighthearted it is.
Measles, measles, measles. Well, all the kids have now had the measles.
So have I.
Well, I had them years ago. Looks like the Bradys are finished with the measles.
Hold it.
You're not through yet.
Alice, don't tell me you're coming down with the measles.
Oh, I hope so.
I'd hate to think I was just learning how to blush at my age.
Now, back in 1969, you could not get much less controversial than the Brady Bunch. Was this episode created by some ignorant science denier? Well, here's the executive producer's son describing his father's background.
My dad, who created the Brady Bunch, he was a pre-med student, actually, before he ever got into creating TV shows.
So not a science denier, in fact, someone who was above average in terms of their medical knowledge. Let's contrast that with this trailer from a recent episode of Law & Order.
How do you feel?
I'm fine. Dad says I should go to school.
7 students confirmed with measles, 4 others possible.
How? They had to have been vaccinated.
These moms never vaccinated their kids and lied about it. Vaccines are harmful.
You are endangering the health of every child in this city.
Liv, no, it's turning blue.
Call 911.
No wonder so many parents aren't worried about side effects. I mean, this plays like a trailer for 28 Days Later. Unfortunately, that's the perception that many in our society have right now. This is why Katy Talento is so important. She was one of them. She represents the science that we were all told to trust. A Harvard-educated epidemiologist who was working diligently to thwart a vaccine safety commission. So why has Katy been in the news lately? Well, she recently published an article, I believe you can find it at katytalento.com, that really shook up the public health community, ruffled a lot of feathers. Here she describes that story.
My story is really a series of, the article I wrote is a series of events and episodes that led to that awakening. And it's sort of an apology to now Secretary Kennedy and all the people who've been in this movement for so many decades and are mad at people like me who didn't wake up and who didn't know better.
And here she explains why she wrote this article.
But I did it publicly now recently because I want to help mainstream the awakening. I want to help mainstream that, like, hey, you can be a doctor, you can be an epidemiologist, you can be a politician, you can be working in government, and you can have taken the status quo orthodoxy line in public health for your entire career, but you know what's going on. And many, many of us do. Many people that I talk to, in the system, still in the system, who kind of roll their eyes when they talk about vaccines. And I wanted to create a permission field, if you will, or expand that permission field to come forward and to tell the truth. And so I hope I've done that. I know a lot of people are mad at me that I didn't wake up earlier, and I'm sorry, I wish I had. But, we really do drink a lot of Kool-Aid, and I really thought I was helping people.
Now, many will hate her for switching sides, but not all. A few are bound to say to themselves, how could someone with her background have done such a 180? Maybe I'm missing something. And once your mind is open enough to entertain that possibility, it's only a matter of time before you're in our camp. Now let's revisit Sharyl Attkisson's question to President Trump and see what we could take away from his answer.
There's a woman named Katy Talento, if I'm saying her name correctly, who recently stated that in 2017 she worked for you, and her job was to keep Bobby Kennedy as far from the West Wing as possible after you had agreed to a vaccine safety commission. Did you know about that? She's published on that the last couple of days. She says she's apologizing for that, basically. Did you know that at the time, that there was somebody supposedly tasked with keeping Bobby Kennedy away?
No, I didn't. He's doing a good job. I think Bobby, people love him. I didn't know about that.
Do you think there should be a vaccine safety commission?
A commission on what?
Vaccine safety, something to examine, something like he
I
proposed
believe
back
in
then.
vaccines, but I don't believe that, you have to have a mandate for all of them. The polio vaccine's amazing.
So first, the bad news. Trump is not going to support a vaccine safety commission. He kind of plays dumb here as if he doesn't understand the question. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Trump is not ideologically driven. Someone like RFK Jr. will not stop until no child is unduly harmed by a vaccine. Trump, on the other hand, is a deal maker. He'll settle for less undue harm.
I think we were up to 88 vaccines, and I really feel that vaccines, if they were given in smaller quantities, they want to cut some out, and that's good too, and I agree with that. 82 is too many. If you look at Denmark and other countries, you have 12, 14, I think 17, and we have like 82. But I look at these beautiful little babies, and they get a vat, so like a big glass of stuff pumped into their bodies, and I think it's a very negative thing to do. And I would like to see it. I'm not doing this in terms of Bobby or not. I hope they agree with that, but that's just my opinion. I would love to see much smaller shots, like 4 visits to the doctor. And I think you would have a much better result with the autism.
The good news is that one of the most visible leaders in the world is publicly acknowledging that vaccines are probably harming children. Like Katy Talento, he's expanding the permission field for this kind of conversation. And I'll wrap it up there. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. See you soon.